Trump went on Fox News and basically said, we shouldn't have kicked the immigrants out. The farmers ain't got nobody.
People Trump deported, y'all should be proud. Cause Trump just said on Fox Live and said the quiet part out loud. Trump just said, I kicked all of them out too fast. We thought once we kicked them out, all the people in urban communities, aka black people, was gonna get back in these fields.
I know goddamn well Trump didn't think that we was finna get back in the motherfucking fields. So Trump gonna get his ass on goddamn TV talking about he prematurely deported the illegals that was working in the farms.
So now Cheeto Puff is saying that he want to bring the immigrants back to the United States because the inner city people, us, are not getting in the field like he thought that we were going to. Y'all really voted for that big soggy Cheeto Puff to sit up here and play Jeopardy with our lives? He is literally playing Jeopardy with the American lives, and y'all sat there and voted for that.
So y'all want to tell me DJT together with his minions called MAGA, they thought black people are gonna go back to the fields? No, you want to tell me DJT sat down and he was like, yeah, together with Vance, if we check with these immigrants, black people are going to go back to the fields. They're going to go walk on those strawberry farms. They're going to pick that coffee. They will go to Walmart and grab those jobs. They will run to FedEx and grab those jobs. All those low paying jobs, we need black people to fill them. Let's take away the immigrants. And you want to tell me now DJT is realizing black people ain't taking those jobs? And now he's realizing it was too early for him to kick away the immigrants? No, because stop. Man spent money, American taxpayers' money to bring the Afrikaners into America. Hi, Afrikaners, how are you doing? I don't even know how y'all doing. Y'all are so quiet on the internet. He spent money, and Mr. Elon Musk, to bring the Afrikaners into America. And they were not good enough to replace the immigrants. And the African Americans were like, oh baby, we ain't coming to the farms. You need to find yourself a plan. We're white people. Y'all on the farms. Walk on the farms. I love me some black people. Black people are petty. No, because black people like, white people, y'all cannot do the job well. Your racism is costing you. Y'all are advocating for the immigrants to go back home. Now y'all businesses are suffering. Black people are chilling and having a good time, baby. They are so unfazed, they don't care. Ladies and gentlemen, before we even go any further, let me show you some people's reactions, because these ones, they got me.
Trump just said, I kicked all of them out too fast. We thought once we kicked them out, all the people in urban communities, aka black people, was gonna get back in these fields. Trump! What the hell you thought this was? Selma? Hell no, we ain't doing that. Nigga, we'll sell t-shirts on our truck before we do that. I hope that wasn't part of the game plan originally. Trump said, listen, we got to get some of the people that we kicked out of the country back. We got to get them back legally. We'll give them their papers and all. We ain't got no damn farmers. You didn't think about this before you kicked them out? Huh? Listen, the last people who were doing that, their last name was Tubman and shit like that. We ain't into that no more. We got black businesses. We'll figure it out here.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Global Views with Josh. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap on the notification bell and give this video a thumbs up, because today's topic, it's wild. Now, apparently, Trump and the MAGA crowd think deporting immigrants will somehow make black Americans go back to picking crops in the field. Yes, you heard me right. Like it's 1850 all over again. Because in their twisted world, deporting millions of immigrants will bring back black jobs. So, Trump's now accusing immigrants of taking jobs meant for black people. The man who outsourced half his business overseas is suddenly worried about who's harvesting, lettuce in California. That's rich. Now, let's think about this. Since when did fieldwork become a black job? Since when did hard labor define an entire race? Black Americans didn't fight, march, and die for civil rights just to be told their economic future lies back in the cotton fields.
Well, look at this. Look at this. Farmers, FAFO, in the deep red state of Pennsylvania, complaining about having no workers. If you did not know, we are short about 150 100,000 farm workers. Crops are rotting on the ground. Yes, yes, farmers voted for this. Yes, they did. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. If you don't think MAGA is not going to be hurting farmers and in every industry, my name is Christina, and I have a bachelor's in accounting, a master's in business, and I am delivering horrible economic news every single day, unfortunately. There are no white people showing up to work 12, 13 hours a day to pick fruit. Farmers voted for this, and unfortunately, we are all going to pay for this because, yes, we are all connected in our economy. What can I do anymore?
So Donald Trump, not in these exact words, but basically admitted this week that a lot of the things that he's been doing, a lot of the policies, a lot of the executive orders that he's been signing off on was all made with the intention of getting black people back into the field. It was made with the intention of getting black people back into the field. All right, so on Tuesday, Donald Trump made an appearance, right, on CNBC's Squawk Box. And on that platform, he actually made a lot of commentary in regards to the situation with the deportations, migrant workers, the state of America's agriculture, and he made comments on inner city people not doing farm work. I want you to always remember that when they mention inner city, that means black. In Donald Trump's exact words, people that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They've tried. We've tried. Everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. Naturally. They don't get a bad back because if they get a bad back, they die. He also went on to say that they are very, very, very special people and they cannot be easily replaced. Remember what I said, anytime that they mention the words inner city people, inner city communities, inner city neighborhoods, that's black. That's code for black. Black, blackity black, okay? Black people. And it is because of that exact commentary that it reconfirms for me, okay? Not confirms, but reconfirms, meaning that I already knew. But it reconfirms that the plan from the very beginning with these executive orders, right, was to further destabilize black communities, further destabilize poor communities, but black mainly, so that you could put pressure on these communities so that you could get them to go back into the field, right? And then once you get them back in the field, bingo, you've made America great again. Modernized slavery. But black people said, fuck you and this little game that you want to play. Since we are the most valuable player on the scoreboard, we will remove ourselves and let's see if this game is still going to continue. And that's in fact what we're seeing right now. Donald Trump thought that by forcing all of these other people out, taking away our Medicaid, doing all of these things to further destabilize our community, that we would conform, that we would just do what he wants us to do, what the whites of this world, what white supremacy wants us to do. But black people decided to pull a Uno reverse and they did nothing, which is something that they're not used to black people doing. They're used to black people having this spirit of rebellion, having this spirit of revolution. But instead, black people decided that, you know what, I'm going to preserve my energy for me and my people, but I'm also going to remove myself from this game entirely. And now everything is starting to crumble. The way that the America agriculture is taking a huge hit right now because of Donald Trump and his deportations. Like, I don't think that you understand how much America survives off of the labor of undocumented workers. And when I say y'all, I mean all the other races. Black people knew because black people were telling you. They told you, don't do this. Don't do this because we're not going back in the field. Don't do this, but y'all didn't listen. And just to put into retrospect of how important undocumented migrant workers are to the agriculture economy here in America, the U.S. Department of Agriculture reports that roughly 42% of crop workers are undocumented, with nearly 70% being foreign-born. This labor is essential in states like California and Texas, where up to 80% of farm workers lack legal status. Donald Trump signed off on a lot of these executive orders back in January. It is now August, and in between that time, he has done a parade of chaotic shit, trying to put pressure on the black community, but the black community has refused to fold. They have not folded. And it's not just the black community, but the legal Hispanic community here, the legal Latinos here, the Browns, and every other race that sees what this administration has been trying to do from the very beginning. They have not folded. And because of that, everything that he has signed off on in January is starting to bite him in the ass in August. And to all of you people out there that had so much to say in regards to the black community and the 92% and them actually deciding to stand down and not participate, to not get involved, to protect their peace, all of the critiques that you had on their decision, let this be your example. Let this be your primary example as to why you should stay the fuck out of black people business. Stay the fuck out of black people business. You had so much to say in regards to our decision and wanting to stand the fuck back and deciding to remove ourselves from this entire game altogether, right? Now, you see that black people actually knew what the fuck they were doing. They knew what the fuck they were doing. They told you were gonna need these people because they weren't doing it anymore. They told you they wasn't gonna do it anymore. You still got rid of them people. You still got rid of the migrants. You still did and went through with the mass deportations, and now you guys want food. But you thought that the black people was going to get into the field. No, they wasn't going to do it. They wasn't going to do it. They wasn't going to do it. And now you see why they decided from the very beginning, oh, I see how this is going to play out. Exit stage left.
Them farmers really thought we was going back to them fields. They really thought we was going back to them fields. You know what? My mother was the first generation on her mother's side not to be brought up on a plantation. Not to be brought up on a plantation. That's what I said. My grandfather had a 3rd grade education, but he left my mama 2 houses, property in the bank, property and money in the bank, with a 3rd grade education. And guess what? He worked in fields. My great grandmother worked in fields and cut that cane just like a man. You hear me? And if you think that Eddie Lewis and Victoria C. Jones and all the rest of my ancestors bust their tail in them fields for us to go back to the fields, absolutely not. That's not progress. We're trying to heal from ancestral trauma. We're trying to heal from that. That ain't happening. That produce could rot in them fields before we go back to them fields. They need to let them know that.
Fam, what is this nonsense I'm hearing about white Midwestern farmers thinking black folks were going to come and work their goddamn fields after they mass deported all of the migrant workers? What in the fuck? They don't know us at all. They don't know any fucking thing about us. Like our own fucking parents and grandparents didn't size our asses the fuck up. Let us know everything about ourselves. Like when my grandmother looked at me at a young age and said, young lady, you need to keep your black ass in school and go on to college. Working outdoors is not for you. That's my fucking grandmother. She knew me. She was right. So what did I do? Stayed my ass in school. Went on off to college. And now you're looking at a 6-figure nigga. What in the fuck would I look like picking Earl's corn? Earl can kiss my ass. If he could do my black job, I wouldn't have it, now would I?
Hold on, so let me get this straight. The white farmers in Louisianers, they're mad because people of color won't come work on their farms for $11 an hour in 100-degree heat for 10 plus hours a day. Let me run that back. White farmers are mad. The very farmers that voted Republican, okay, they voted for this, are mad that people of color won't come work on their farms for $11 an hour in 100-degree heat for 10 plus hours a day. saying? You get what you ask for. Hey, it's FAFO type shit, okay? But hey, don't be fooled. I feel like it's gonna come to a point where they're finna make people get on their farms. Don't count me to it. Because if 2025 was a checklist, hey.
You're not gonna believe this. I saw that someone on Twitter were saying, the white farmers on Twitter were saying that when they had all these mass deportations, that they just automatically thought that they were going to send the black people to work their farms. The black farmers who had already lost their farms, and just, other black people, because they needed the help and they wanted the government to send them, I guess, criminals so they can work on their farms, so they can keep their farms. Because, me keeping my farm and not caring about you and giving you low wages, that's just the American dream, right? Stop it. Y'all need to stop this. This is just totally ridiculous. Little Johnny, little Susie, all the ones that you're paying all this money because you've gotten all this government money for free. You need to go get them out of college, which is what they used to do in the olden days. Get them out of college, get them out of their little jobs, and get them working that farm on the weekend. There you go. See, I fixed it for you.
So y'all remember when it was said that we taking all the black jobs? They really thought that we was going to be looking for black jobs, y'all. And I woke up this morning, I was scrolling through TikTok, and I saw this guy made a video, and I saved it to my favorite, so you can go look for it. And he said he was pretending to be MAGA on one of those other apps. He said they were doing a live, and the farmers were saying that they thought that the black people would be looking for jobs to work on their farms. Now, you got to be kidding me. Do they think we really looking for farm work? Do they not know that we are educated and we got degrees? And being a farm worker ain't even in the jobs categories that we be looking for. They really don't know how educated some of us are. They don't know how many degrees a lot of us have. They got to be really lost if they think that we want to come and work on their farms. They don't know that our parents and our grandparents growing up wouldn't even let us be outside if it wasn't no shade outside. Do they really think that we gonna work on a farm where ain't no shade trees at? I hate to disappoint y'all, baby, but you gonna have to get somebody else to do it, because we ain't working on nobody's farm. Never. The only way you gonna see black people working on a farm is if they own the farm, because we not working on nobody's farm as no workers. So I hate to disappoint y'all. If y'all thought those was black jobs that black people looking for, honey, you better think again, because black folks that I know got good jobs. We've had a black president, we had a black vice president, we got black senators, we got black congressmen, we got black CEOs, we got black doctors, we got black nurses, we got black psychiatrists, we got a lot of good black jobs. Now, I don't know what y'all thought we was gonna be farm workers for. We don't even want to work in the fast food industry. Those jobs, we don't want those kind of jobs. So, I hate to disappoint you MAGA people, but we don't do farm work. So get somebody else to do it. Don't like, share, comment, and repost. Drop in the comments y'all education and y'all good black jobs, because they don't think we got good black jobs out here. So we need to let them see it.
So I know I was talking about, the Latino vote before. The Viva vote for Donald Trump. Okay, well, let's get on to the white folks. The white farmers. So, word is out now that the white farmers voted for Donald Trump because they thought they were going to get black Americans in the fields. Because they also thought black folks did not have jobs. So when we put this all together, somehow the white farmers were convinced that black folks don't have jobs. We don't work. we don't work. And so they voted for Donald Trump because they thought, okay, he gonna send them in the fields. So Donald Trump and them, with their whole Project 2025, said, okay, so we got to make this happen. So we got to cut these DEI stuff, all this DEI stuff, to put black Americans out of work. When in reality, they put a bunch of white folk out of work just to get black folks out of work. And so all these cuts that are happening are to try and harm black Americans so much till they think that we're going to go into the fields. Now, when you think about that, that makes you double back and see why they want the Latinos out. Because the Latinos, right, to them, they are reproducing entirely too fast, okay? And so they're like, we got to get them out of here because black Americans don't reproduce as fast as the Latinos. And so if we could get them out, then the black Americans can take their place in the field. This is for real. And so now you double back to the black jobs. They're taking your job. Yes, you got to double back to what he said. They're taking black jobs, y'all. Like, they have all this down. Like, they have all this whole circle. So now let's go back to the farmers, if you're still with me, okay? Because the white farmers, that's what they believed was going to happen. So if y'all got all that straight, this is the message to the white farmers. The last thing you want is for black Americans to be in your fields. Don't let the devil fool you. As a matter of fact, you might want to let the devil fool you to see what's going to happen. But I'm trying to tell you, the last thing you ever gonna want is black Americans in your fields. Nah, I'm gonna let you fill in the blank on that one. And this goes to show that they will go to any lengths. Remember I said that, first of all, we had the Latinos, some Latinos, not all of them, just them Cuban ones, talk about you're next, right? To black Americans. So they thought we was immigrants, okay? And so now we have the white farmers who are still living in the 1700s, thinking back to glory days, quote unquote. They thought with their vote, we were going to the fields. So you got one group thinking they gonna kick us out of here, and you got another group of people thinking that we going to the fields. Now this right here is a real mental problem, because people are literally stuck. I'm telling y'all, people are stuck in the 1700s when they think about black Americans, okay? I'm telling you, their thought process, they sit around probably campgrounds and picnics and stuff and talk about how can we make this happen? That was their heyday. I'm telling you, when that freaking plantation house burned down in Louisiana, I think, right? That was their heyday. Now, I'm trying to say that was their heyday. When that plantation house down in Louisiana got torched, okay? I'm telling you, that broke them. But I just want to, I want to teach them a little bit more history if I have your attention, right? If I have your attention, right? This is some history that a lot of people don't know, okay? But y'all didn't know black Americans had white servants? Y'all ain't know that? I mean, it wasn't widespread or anything like that, but we had white servants. Yeah, and they wanted to be our servants because they needed work. They were coming over from Europe. Yeah, and they were docile too. Yeah, they were docile. And black Americans, the aristocrats, the wealthy ones, because they were wealthy ones, okay? They had white servants. So I don't know if y'all ever see them pictures. Let me find a picture. I couldn't find a picture. I wasn't gonna go back and try to find a picture, but if you can watch videos, you'll be able to find a picture of possibly some black people in the horse-drawn carriages. And there may be someone white as the horseman or I'm not sure what you call them, coachman or whatever. Yeah, he worked for them. Yes, indeed. It was a big thing. It was a big, big thing, when everybody began to see in the early 1900s, what? Black Americans, they use the other word. Black Americans have white servants. Yeah, that's a bit of history they don't like to put on TV. And the reason for it is because they were like, okay, they had white people here that they could hire, and they also had black people here that they could hire, but they felt that the white people from Europe were so docile, and they were less expensive. Now, they weren't the only ones who thought that. The wealthy white people thought that too. The wealthy white people were like, yeah, we like the docile immigrant white people. They're a lot cheaper. They take less money. Yeah, so there's a bit of history for you. Oh yeah, it was like that. Oh yeah, because they knew they would have to pay black Americans a lot more. Lot more. So they always went for the immigrant. And see, when the black Americans hired the white immigrants, they were like really like, yes, we will do it. Yes, we will do it. Because they want to stay in America. Here's the difference though. Black Americans didn't mistreat them. They didn't mistreat them at all. But anyway, that's just a little side note. But yeah, to the white farmers again, this is the last thing you want. The last thing you want is for black Americans to be out in your fields. The last thing you want. Trust and believe. And next time, you know what? Stop basing your vote on how to harm black Americans, because you're going to end up running into that wall that's going to tumble. Okay? That's what's going to end up happening. Stop doing that. All of you do it. Like all of you. You had the conservative Asian Americans coming through with the whole Ivy League school. We don't want black Americans there. Then you had the I will vote for Donald Trump Cubans, okay, who were thinking, okay, you're next, okay? Okay, we're not immigrants, so we're not next. And now we have the white farmer who thought that they were going to get the black Americans in the fields. And then this is all off of Project 2025. So now look where you got America. Look where you got the United States of America. And you know, a lot of people say, why black Americans think everything revolves around them? No, y'all think everything revolves around us because y'all make everything revolve around us. Y'all stuff coming out.
So I want to talk about this article really quick because it's all starting to make so much sense right now. This author and journalist was having lunch with friends. There was a white guy and he's married to a black lady, and they were talking politics. And he says that farmers weren't worried about Trump deporting migrants because, wait for it, they thought because unemployment was so high for black people that these black people would run back to the fields and do the jobs that the migrants were doing when they got deported. So she asked, like, where'd you get that information from? White farmer TikTok or MAGA Facebook memes? Like, where'd you get this information from? And her and the wife basically started giving him information, letting him know unemployment is only 6.8% for African Americans, and 93% of black people are currently working. Got so caught up in what they were hearing at Fox News and other places, thinking black jobs, immigrants are taking black jobs, that they just assumed they'd get rid of the immigrants and black people would take the immigrants' jobs. Sir, our ancestors did not march, die, and fight for civil rights so we could go back to the fields? Like, what? But shout out to the Latino immigrant population that have mastered that labor with skill and stamina. This country doesn't even appreciate it enough. Oh, and by the way, when they do try to hire Americans, black or white, to do those jobs, most of them don't even last half a day. They just ghost them without even picking up their paychecks. True story. So y'all, tell me, do you really believe that they thought black people were planning to replace immigrants in that labor force if they got deported? Because I need to know who was smoking that logic. What do you think?
Now, this same immigrants are taking your jobs narrative is the same tired trick, divide and distract. Trump doesn't care about black employment. He cares about fear, division, and power. But pitting black and brown communities against each other, he keeps his followers angry and distracted while billionaires keep cashing in. Now, let's be real. The immigrants Trump wants to deport are doing jobs his supporters won't touch. When was the last time you saw a MAGA hat in a strawberry field at 5 a.m. or roofing a house in 100-degree heat? I'll wait. If Trump really cared about jobs for black Americans, he would invest in education, job training, small business support. Not this, racist fantasy about deporting people to make room for others. Deportation won't fix the economy. It will wreck it. Agriculture, construction, and service industries will collapse. But hey, as long as the rallies are allowed, who cares, right? And that phrase, black job, it's loaded with racism. It echoes a past where black people were forced into labor, not hired for opportunity. When Trump says immigrants took your jobs, what's he really saying? You know, I don't understand. I don't get that. We like you better when you were working for free, right? Does that connote it? And that's the ugly truth behind the applause. Because the issue isn't that black people don't have jobs. Is that they are constantly denied access to better ones. Systemic racism, unequal education, low wages, those are the real problems, not immigrants. At the end of the day, MAGA's idea of making America great again looks a lot like taking us backward. Deporting millions won't create unity. It will create chaos. And this fantasy about black job isn't economic policy, it's racism packaged with a red hat. But that's my take though. What about you? Do you think Trump's comments were racially motivated or just ignorant? And here's a deeper one. Why do so many still buy into this immigrant versus black workers myth when history shows it's all about control? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like, subscribe, and share this video if you believe America deserves better than this kind of racial manipulation. Drop your thoughts. Tell me what you think. I'm Josh. This is Global Views with Josh. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and peace. I'll see you guys on my next video. Don't forget, credit belongs to original creators, and these videos are for educational purposes. I'll see you guys.